Welcome to the Lift Oneself podcast. I am your host, Nat Nat, and today I brought some sunshine and some heat to the listeners and myself. We have a wonderful guest that is from the island of Barbados, yet she's in Germany right now, dealing with what I have to deal with, the cold and adjusting to the environment. It is none other than Tabitha Gerbadian. So, Tabitha, could you introduce yourself to myself and the listeners and let us know a little bit about yourself?
So, hey, Nat, I think you probably just, did it for me. Like you said, I am based now in Germany. Caribbean girl through and through from Barbados. This is how the names got meshed, the German Barbadian, Gerbadian. So, yeah, sunshine, not evident here, but hopefully I can give you some warmth and sunshine. Bubbly personality. I try not to take things too serious all the time, just a fun loving person, and I think it shows in my music, in my art, in everything that I do. I just try to be my authentic self. So I guess that's Tabitha basically in a nutshell.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
was blessed to hear Tabitha sing. I was at QP, I believe it was in January, that she was there as a guest with Risa and the Impressive Roots Band. And let me tell you, Tabitha has a frequency that will get you up. And let me tell you, the whole restaurant was up dancing. So if any of you may not have seen, it's on my IG and on my TikTok where you saw all the patrons getting up and really having a good time. So I am testimonial of what Tabitha can stir in you to really use that music to bring you into a higher vibration and just be present in the moment of enjoying yourself. So before we get into a deep dive of a conversation, Tabitha, will you
Hmm.
join me in a mindful moment?
Of course.
Okay. For the listeners, as I always tell you, safety first. When I ask Tabitha and myself to close our eyes, keep your eyes open if you're driving or need your visual. Yet the other prompts you're able to follow with us. So, Tabitha, I'll ask you to get comfortable. And if
Hmm.
it's safe to do so, you're going to gently close your eyes. And you're going to begin breathing in and out through your nose. And you're going to bring your awareness to watching your breath go in and out. You're not going to try and control your breath. You're just going to be aware of its with rhythm, allowing it to guide you into your body. There may be some feelings or sensations coming up, and that's okay. You're safe to feel. You're safe to let go. Surrender the need to control. Release the need to resist and just be. Be with your breath. Drop deeper into your body. Now, there may be some thoughts or to-do lists that have popped up in your mind, and that's okay. Gently bring your awareness back to your breath, creating space between the awareness and the thoughts, and dropping even deeper into your body, allowing yourself to just be. Again, more thoughts may have popped up. Gently bring your awareness back to your breath, beginning again, creating even more space between the awareness and the thoughts, and dropping even deeper into your body, being in the space of just being. Continue staying with your breath. And when you're ready, at your own time and at your own pace, you're going to gently open your eyes while staying with your breath.
Wow. So I just went back into sleep mode.
That's what it tends to do. I started doing these mindful moments because instead of telling people to meditate or slow down, I really wanted to model it and invite, people to take that moment. Like it was 2 minutes. It can feel like a long time, yet there's tremendous benefit when we can interrupt our patterns and just do a check-in with ourselves to see what's going on inside. So my first question to you, Tabitha, is how's your heart doing?
My heart is Good. My heart is thankful and full at this point. Um, I have had a rough couple days at work and everything, but in general, I am happy to even be able to do that. And when I put myself in that space of recognizing the hardships, but accepting it because I'm even able to do that, and there are people that are not able to do that, and to be able to maneuver through it and to deal with it and not just be like, oh, my life is so hard, why me, why now? And like I've been battling with that a lot recently. And yeah, I find like I wake up with a sense of thankfulness.
Mhm.
And I think that helps my heart to be as full as it can be and to be in the present, but to be thankful for the present because the present is a present.
It is. It is.
Yeah. So,
So you've been in this industry of music for a really long time and long
yeah.
enough to see the highs in the struggles and
Mhm.
see the lows, you know.
Mhm.
What's something about the music business, especially as a female artist, that no one really talks about but needs to be heard?
Um, One thing for me, because I am very dominant on stage, and I think it sometimes comes across as masculine energy. If I'm doing really good at my job, it's like, oh, she's trying to be a man. And I think this happens to a lot, regardless of what field you're in. It
Hmm.
comes down to, like, for instance, with a female who's excelling in an office setting, it'd be like, oh, she's so bossy. Because when they sense that energy, like you're sure, you're strong in what you're doing, you're affirmative, and you say, this is what I need, this is what I want, get it done, please. Like, and you're like, a female is not supposed to be that. A
Hmm.
female is supposed to be fairies and cotton candy, and oh my God, and this was never me.
Hmm.
So as I continue to learn and grow, and from strength to strength, it appears more so that I have what they would call a rough energy about me. And then it intimidates some people, especially males, to the point where they would be like, no, so we got to talk down to her, or we need to break her in this particular instance because she can't appear to be more masculine than I am in this point, at this point in time. So it sometimes it is a bit touch and go. Sometimes is a bit tricky in terms of dealing with different energies because they then project onto you. And then you have to be strong enough to deal with that, accept it for what it is, but keep it pushing still and not changing who you are to please anyone. And I think a lot of the times, whether it is negotiating a contract or negotiating the spot that I'm going on stage at, because it's like, oh, this guy is a male, so he's supposed to close the show, and like for me, this is not really the end goal of it all. Is to be seen, and I am the vessel, and I need my message out there. It doesn't matter for me what position I go on stage at, but for some people it's like, oh no, why you putting a female to close this show, or why like, so it's just different little stupidity, I call it,
Yeah.
because really and truthfully it's not what the music's supposed to be about. And it's not, especially in my field where I consider myself to do like more so reggae than anything else. I'm an artist and an entertainer first and foremost, and I can do really any genre, but reggae is where I feel like this is my choice of vessel. I am the vessel. This is the car I use to bring to the message to the people. And when it is that I feel like people are trying to pull me or make me drift from authentically what I feel this supposed to be. This
Hmm.
genre is supposed to be peace, love, a connection with the spiritual self to everything else. And it just always seems like there is a fight because of the person that's delivering the message as opposed to the actual message. So
Hmm.
I'm more focused on the message, and in that I miss a lot of the other things as well. You get in the industry, the here and there, whizzy whizzy and stuff, and surprisingly, it comes mostly from men. And like I said, it goes back to them feeling threatened or saying, well, oh, this is a masculine energy that she has, or I'm just sure about what I need to do, and if I have a job, I'm gonna get it done. you
Hmm.
know So whether it be, like I said before, contracts or anything, negotiating, being firm on what I believe in, not selling myself short, not doing this cutesy little moment to please you if it's not going with my brand. Like,
Hmm.
I can be a female and you can still see that through me being firm. You understand? We were all birthed from a mother. If that is not the ultimate source of strength, I don't know what is.
Yeah,
So like, yeah, stop trying to say on one hand, oh, we respect the women and the mothers, but then turn around and like, no, she can't be on the same show as me because she's a female acting like a male.
yeah.
What is acting like a male? It's crazy sometimes, but I do it because I love it.
Hmm.
And the day I stop loving it, then I will stop.
Hmm. I think that the word for male energy is confidence.
Yeah,
A lot of women don't have confidence in themselves. There's a lot of doubt and feeling that you have to be in a certain box or a certain position. So when you are assertive, when you are direct, which some people don't like directness, they find it as being rude. Yet it's like you're asking me for my truth and I'm telling you directly what it is. Yet we're in a society that's very hypocritical. We want something, but we don't want it that way, where
yeah,
it's like, no, directness can come off as rude when people don't understand that. Um, and the power of that, because when you're confident, there's a power that comes with that. And unfortunately, sometimes there is a bit of aggression for women because there has been such a dominance of males that women don't feel safe to even be in their feminine and be respected. So that
yeah,
assertiveness and aggressiveness has to be there because you're not even allowing me a space to be feminine and safe and
yeah,
still be respected.
yeah,
So,
exactly.
so as you said, reggae and dancehall are like more than just music. Like they carry deep messages and like deep messages of resistance and healing and truth and advocating. What's the realest song you've written, if you do write, or that you've sang, the one that comes from a place so raw it almost scared you to share it?
Um, there was one that I wrote. Well, there's one that I wrote with Buggy Nakente, who's a reggae artist from Barbados. Um, and it's called Original. It's remaining true to your roots and everything. But so this is one of them that I think I have a kind of an attachment to. But the one that I wrote it at a time, I wasn't scared, but at a time where there was lots of difficulties in my life. And it goes, another day in the life for me. So much stress, confusion, and worry. When will I find my release? Need a savior, help me, please. Nothing seems to go my way. I ain't got a job, I got bills to pay. I know it just ain't right. Can't give up, I won't lose this fight. So it was like it is a reminder to myself. It was a note to myself, like better must come. I know better must come. After the dark skies, you'll see the sun. Face your problems, you cannot run. Jah is always there to guide you. And it was a reminder to myself. It doesn't matter, one step forward, two steps back. Sometimes life can make you feel like that. Like it
Yeah.
was just like me really just writing what I was feeling at that time.
Mhm.
And it was a reminder to myself and anyone who would listen, like, yo, life sometimes is not gonna be presented as easy. But if you breathe, you take the moment to breathe, take a beat, as they would say, just relax, you'd realize like things are not as, something as simple as walking in the sunshine for the first day after 2 weeks of gloom and doom. And you walk in the sunshine and that sun hits your face, is like, yo, life could be much worse.
Mhm.
I mean, you shouldn't be living really healthily, mentally thinking life can be worse. So let me appreciate what little mediocre stuff I have. But at the same time, is like taking a moment to appreciate the point and where you're at
Mhm.
and understanding where you've come from and where you're heading. I call it the in between.
Yeah.
When you're living in the in between, sometimes it's scary, but it's like you're keeping a track of how far you have to go, but how far you've come,
Hmm.
and being present in that in between space, you know.
Yeah.
So I think I tried to do that a lot, and this is where the song came from. So it was like a reminder to myself: you're sad today, but tomorrow the sun may simply shine, and you may feel better. You
Hmm.
know, you may get that email that you were waiting on, and boom, you know.
Yeah.
So it's a again, it goes within being thankful and appreciative, and just trying to live day to day, knowing, yeah, better must come.
Hmm.
So I think that was one of the songs that really, for me personally, that I wrote as a note to myself. And I was in the supermarket a couple years back, and a lady came up to me, and she like she was starting to, she just hugged me, and I was like, and my daughter was with me, right? And it was so funny because it never happened before. Like, people would always comment and be like, "Oh yeah, your music and powerful message," and and yeah, I'm thankful for that. But she came to me, and I swear, like, the lady, I could feel when she hugged me the energy that she was coming at me with. So I remained silent in that moment, and I gave her a hug back, and she say, "Your music saved my life." And it was this particular song, "Better Must Come," right? And she was like, yo, I was going through it. I was thinking of, like, do I even want to continue with life? And then is when I realized, like, I should not really take what I do as just being an artist. I should not take it lightly. And it's a responsibility that I have to really, like, grasp and understand, yo, what I'm putting out there can help somebody.
Hmm.
And it helped me because music, I started doing music because it was healing me. It was healing my inner child. It was healing the person that really was lost at one point in her life, came up difficult, and trying, and it was always like seeing things around me. I was like, yo, I can make this better. How? How can I make it better? And music was my vessel of choice.
Hmm.
And so, in doing that in a nutshell, then, and then when the lady walked off, I mean, she was crying. I had a moment. She had a moment. I was like, look, don't ever give up. And I don't know if I was speaking from a place of where I was even believing it, but I know she needed that at that moment. And I was like, yo, just stand firm. Things gonna get better.
Hmm.
Things gonna always get better. And I have to remind myself of that most days, but it's a process, like, you wake up, you decide, yo, I wanna go mindfulness, and you go, you zone in, and you just, because this is the vessel that we have now.
Yeah.
So it's settling and being at peace, and then being like, yeah, how can I help somebody else have this peace? Because the more of us that walk with peace, the less war we will have,
Hmm.
the less turmoil we will have.
Hmm. That's where the change is.
Each one reach one.
Hmm. Hmm. Exactly.
I believe in that for sure, and I got that from my mother. She was the one in the village that always had less but always did more.
Hmm.
People could always come to her for a meal, even if we didn't have that much. They could always come to her for a plaster, for a cut.
Hmm.
They know that my mother was the one in the village that would look after them. Yeah, so I guess it, by extension, is definitely from my mom, but growing up and seeing everything around me and wanting better, and thinking, what can I do to change the situation? And
Hmm.
not like, do I wait for someone to help me? Take the bull by the horns. What can I actively do to help the situation now and help other people as well to progress to the next stage of their life? How I figured out this for myself as well, and remaining positive throughout it all, regardless of what comes my way.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So, as you said, your journey began in Barbados.
Hmm.
Yet your voice has ignited souls around the world, like 60,000 Africans, like
Yeah.
60,000 people. Like, I don't think
Yeah.
people understand how electrifying that is of energy and attention and commanding stages in the Middle East. Middle East is not like, you're bringing reggae and dancehall into the Middle East and having
Yeah.
a voice.
Yeah.
When was the moment that you truly felt that your voice has transcended beyond borders? That it wasn't only in Barbados, it could be in the world?
I think the first Africa tour did that for me. So the one with the 60,000 people, for sure, that was it. I remember going on stage and say, Queen Tabitha from Barbados. And I go on the stage and I start talking to them and they are screaming. It's like 60,000 people screaming, trying to touch me, trying to, get a photo. I was like, wow. And then when I started to sing, because at that point, I did not rehearse. Normally, I do not like to rehearse things that I want to come as natural,
Mm.
right? So I may rehearse the music with the band, but I may not rehearse exactly what I am gonna say. But for some reason, it always touches me from the first step that I make on the stage. Then I know, aha, this is what I will do. And I figured, you know what? Before they see me, they must hear me. I want them to hear me and to know that it's something serious
Mhm.
that I'm about to deliver to them. And I remember touching the first stage and I say, I hear the words of the Rasta man say, and they were like, I could hear it. And I was goosebumps. And I was like, yes, I got them to listen to me now. Babylon, your throne gone down, gone down. And I walk and I step in one step after the other and I say, no, something off. And I realized I still had my shoes on my feet. I cannot perform on this stage in Africa for the first time with shoes on my feet. I have to touch the earth. And I take the shoes off and I throw them one side. And I remember somebody scampering to put them, neatly in the corner. I was like, sorry, I didn't want that to come across as disrespectful, but I was like, get these shoes off of me. And when I get on stage and I see all the people, and I had to take a deep breath, and I was like, I was getting emotional. And I remember thinking in my head, look at me, mom. Look at me. That moment, all I could think was, look at me, mom. And as I get further down in the performance, Barbados, I hope you could see this. They got so much more for us out here. We are not limited to a box or a place in time. We are so much bigger than what we think we are.
Mhm.
And if we had the opportunity to do it and make it big, make the opportunity, maximize on every opportunity, and do it to the biggest that you can, is the rewards feel great. And my reward that day was feeling the energy, the spirit and the energies and like everything just hitting you at once. It was a burst. It was one big burst, and I was like, wow, I am home. It felt like home to me.
Mm.
It was so amazing.
So, having that much attention and energy, that's a high, like that's a drug in itself, and
Definitely.
it takes a while to come down from that.
Oh yeah.
Yet then when you go into what you would say normal life,
Yeah.
how do you deal with those lows to still stay grounded within yourself and then not allow your mind to go in really dark places, because that was a significant high,
Hmm.
and not to have that anymore? It's like, how do I feel myself in the monotony of life, the mundane of life?
I don't know if I am strange for thinking this way, but I always know there will be other moments. I just don't know when, but I don't see it as a low, because with everything you have a noise period and you have a quiet period.
Mhm.
And when I have my quiet time, I also appreciate my quiet time. This is the time that I get to go back to the drawing board and I decide this is what I want to do next. This is the sound I want to take on next. This is the tour and the country I would like to go to next. Like, is the planning stages for me. I think the key is to keep moving, whether it be like mentally planning or actually physically planning. So I'm always on to the next. Okay, what is the next? And I don't know if it's me searching for that high still, could be, yeah. But in that down period or that quiet time, I use that to focus on everything else I have going on as well, whether it be family or something new I want to take on. And I have a 9 to 5 still. I can't do music full time as yet. I'm still looking for an agent here in Europe, and so when the bookings start to pick up a bit more, then maybe one day I would just say bye to my work.
Hmm.
But until then, work keeps me busy as well. Sometimes I think it does affect the other, because sometimes I would be at work, and although my heart and brain are with music, I'm still always like bombarded with work things then, and there's no time to really sit and have that quiet time to think about music and to be creative. So sometimes that does take away from the creative process.
Hmm.
And when the creative process kind of is taken away for a short while, then you really don't think or miss it per se. It's like, okay, I'm going through a day to day, sometimes a survival, I don't know, it's a weird, I don't even know how to explain it really.
Hmm.
But I don't think of it, I don't ever think of myself as having a low, or of course I miss not constantly performing, but I know that there is a reason for the quiet and the downtime now as well.
Okay.
And in this time, I use it to prepare for the next.
Hmm.
What is next? What will come next? Which is what I'm doing currently. Even like I'm working now on compiling an EP, because I have a ton of unreleased music,
Hmm.
and now I'm working to release my EP. Like, so it would be my first like solid body of work all together on one,
Yeah.
in one place.
Place.
So I'm kind of excited about that. And every time I talk about a new release or EP, it's like it takes even longer, but it's coming. It's coming.
What do you think stalls? Because I've talked to several artists in Barbados, and
Hmm.
they will say, I'm going to release and I'm going to put a body of work,"
Hmm.
and they do a little bit, yet the release isn't there. What do you think creates the resistance or the blockages from actually putting it out?
Well, speaking as from someone that used to live in Barbados, sometimes Barbados can make you feel like it is on a smaller scale, everything.
Mm.
And although we have the internet and everything, people are like, yeah, the whole world is reachable now, and da 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 da. I think sometimes it's hard to know how to go about something. I mean, in theory how to do it, but then without having the maximum support that you can, it is a bit more difficult. Um, Without the backing or without the support, is like, okay, I'm gonna write a book, and you have not one endorsement from another writer saying like, hey, go get it, like you can do this.
Yeah.
So it's like, as an artist in Barbados, is you would think, for me, I don't know, it would be nice if sometimes other people were a bit more supportive of what you're doing.
Yeah.
But then it is not their job either to kind of boost us. It's up to us to really push and see how far our project can go. But I think it would make things much easier, especially from smaller Caribbean islands. If we, like, take Jamaica for instance, you have a Jamaican artist traveling, and sometimes there is somebody opening the show for them, and it just so happens that this person is Turbulence now, and they have a whole name, and they're doing their own shows now because of that one show that they went on with Sizzler.
Hmm.
Like, is a tricky thing. So in terms of the support, I think it makes projects easier if everybody was supporting it, or everybody would get behind it. The money, the financial aspect of it as well.
Mm.
Because being from a small island, then you need to have that financial backative to really get out there, and you pay for all the different ads and stuff online, and to get it marketed, maybe even like print a banner somewhere in another country and stick it up, and like different
Yeah.
things, different ideas I have. So for me, the one thing for me was always the financial, because I always knew I had the fight in me to do the extra push,
Hmm.
with or without the support. Support is always necessary, but with or without, I was willing to always do it and push it to the next level. Go to the radio stations, email the DJs, like do the work, put in the
Hmm.
work, go to the different events, put in a flash drive, sing at somebody's event. I don't know who they are. Thank you. My name is Tabitha Gerbadian, and I drop 2 songs and I gone. Like stuff like this. So
Yeah.
sometimes you gotta really rebel up the thing too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exposure.
is not always easy, and especially like I say in my field, um and then being a female is is it has its challenges. So yeah, I would say the support and the financial backative as well is what really is a stumbling block in a lot of people's way, but at least for me.
Hmm. Hmm. I appreciate the
Yeah.
honesty. So, talking like this, you've shared the stage with people like Beenie Man and Wyclef, which
Mm-hmm.
are two legends in the game.
Yeah.
Can you take us behind the scenes of the moments and what did you learn that may have changed your path as an artist with performing with these two?
um so last question first. Don't ever stop dreaming, because both of those things were not supposed to happen, but they did. Both things happened and they were not supposed to. And well, I can't say they were not supposed to, because the universe had it preordained that it would happen. I just
Yes.
didn't know. So to not stop dreaming is the first thing I would say. And nothing is out of reach, and no person is bigger or smaller than you. We're all just here existing, doing the same thing, trying to get through the same way. Like, it's just there are different levels to this,
Hmm.
and everybody has their time. So not to stop dreaming. And how it came about was when I had so with the Wyclef instance. Well, let me start the Beenie Man, because with the Beenie Man scenario, this is what I think really propelled or compelled me to want to be an artist in the first place.
Hmm.
So I was at Reggae Summer Jam with my mom. I was 13, 12, 13, and we were standing in the crowd. Beenie Man came on stage. All the songs I know, of course, because Caribbean girl, hello. So I was like, yeah, but I in the front row and I there partying and I enjoy myself. My mom enjoying the show too. We both just, having a good time. And he came and then I hear Sim Sim up, Beenie Man, Daddy girls. I was like, oh my God, take the stars out the sky for you. Girls Them Sugar remix with Maya. I was like, but he don't got no Maya there. And I was just closing my eyes. I was like, I could be your girl. But I could hear my voice. I had my eyes closed. I could hear my voice. I was like, I'm singing really loud. I opened my eyes. He in front of me with a microphone. I was like, no way. Well, I was like, I could be you. And I continue partying, doing what I was doing, because I'm like, yeah, well, all right, he here. Let me just continue what I was doing, because I really enjoying the show. He go down the line and he take the stars. He every time it comes to the female part, he's trying to go to the front of the line and like getting the girls to sing. They didn't know. He came back to me again because he was like, yo, this girl know this word for word. I could be your girl. I was like, yeah, enjoying myself, being just style. And then he went on stage. I was like, well, good. That was my, 2 minutes of excitement. I had a blast. That in itself I was satisfied with. And then I see him motion to the bouncer. Some big man was there standing up. He's like, her, bring her on stage. I was like, me? He's like, you come. Before I really realized 100% what was going on, my mother had her hand up under my pooch and pushed me over the barricade. And this is to just divert a bit. My mother has always been one of the biggest and strongest supporters ever of what she saw in me, even before I saw it in myself. She
Hmm.
knew this girl is gonna do great things. I don't know exactly what yet, but I'm gonna support her or whatever. So with all the clubs that I was doing and everything, she was always supportive. Even if it was the last dollar that I needed to pay for Key Club or whatever, she would give it to me.
Yeah.
So this was always my mother. Um, and so yeah, so fast track now. The bouncers then grabbed me from my mom, finished pulling me over, and lift me up onto the stage. And then now Beanie holds the mic once and he say, you know the lyrics, right? I see you know the song. I was like, yeah. He said, you ready? I said, ready, ready. Mind you, my mother is telling me from reading my lips exactly what happened, because it was an outer body experience for me.
Yeah.
That was like 13, and you got 35,000 people in front of you. Was like anybody that ever went reggae summer jam. If you lose a friend,
Yeah,
you will be
it's done.
searching for that friend for hours. There's no way. It's like a sea of people, and
Yeah.
everybody just, and a cloud of smoke. And you understand? So I'm like, I just watching it all playing out. So I'm outside of my body. And he's like, I love my baby, but I really want to tell you this. And I was like, and I just there like, yeah, like just moving. I mind you, my mother's giving me a play-by-play of what I did. And then he does it. You're ready. Good. Take the stars out the sky for you. And I was just continuing along that line. We singing the song back and forth, back and forth. And then when it was his part again, I remember this part. I remember just clapping my hands because I was nervous. It was nervous energy, and I was just clapping, and everybody was clapping at the same level. And I was like, "Let me clap a little higher." And I started clap higher. Everybody clapping higher, and I looking at everybody, and they're like, "Yeah," they're following me, and I'm moving to the side. They're moving to the side, and they say, "I want to replicate this 20 million times if I can. This energy is what I need for my life."
Mm-hmm.
And it was kind of like a look at me, mom. And why I was thinking that, and why I thought that when I went to Africa was because of that particular moment. So it brought me back to that space where I said, wow, mom, look at me. So it was like a full circle moment for me, like feeling that feeling again, knowing that I intentionally put that in the universe, that I want to feel this. And the universe has been so good to me, like, yo, I'm going to gift you with this feeling again. And time and time and time again.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, look at me, mom. And that was the first day, or I guess first or second day, but any other days after that, people randomly were bringing water for me. They were asking me if I was hungry. When they see me in the crowd, they were bringing snacks. I was like, I could get used to this. I could get used to this.
Yeah, no
I mean, and
kidding.
not only me, bringing water for my mom and her entourage. The cameraman was checking on me, like, everything good, alles gut, yeah. Ein bisschen mehr Wasser oder so, yeah. You want some more water? It's like, oh, I'm good, thank you. It was so good. And then now, what was the next one? What were we talking about? What was the second one?
Wyclef.
Wyclef. So with Wyclef now, this was really funny. And why I'm forgetting now is because these moments happen for me so much in my life. And it's not only about performances, but in general. When I
Mm-hmm.
set intentional like feelings, when I set something out into the universe, it comes to me, maybe not in the same way that I want it, but it comes back. Which is why I believe in being good and being as natural as I can, because the universe will always read the intention
Mm-hmm.
for what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And if you do something with a pure heart and a clean vibes, it's gonna come back in some way or the other. Or you may see somebody else flourish and be like, yo, I'm so happy for you. Because that's what I was praying for myself.
Mm-hmm.
And to see somebody else get it, then it's like perfect.
Yeah.
So to Wyclef, no, I just had to add that in there. Because all of these things are gonna give you a little piece of the Tabitha puzzle, like to understand a bit more why I do what I do, how I operate.
Yeah.
And so with the Wyclef situation, I had a dream. And the song in the dream was Two Wrongs with him and Claudette Ortiz. They say two wrongs don't make you right. So if I'm wrong, I ain't trying to fight. Right? And that was a big song too back in my day.
Yeah.
I did not know all the lyrics, but so the dream happened where he passed me. Like, this is a real vivid dream. Like, this was actually happening, right? And he passed in front of me. And I was like, can I perform you? He was like, sure, come. And I performed with him and the night went great or whatever. I did what any sane person would do. I learned the lyrics to the song when I woke up. Like, get ready, stay ready so
Prepare.
you don't go get ready, right?
Yes, exactly.
I stay ready. So I was like, yo, I'm gonna learn these lyrics. And come to the fast forward now to Reggae on the Hill. I was a part of the show that day as well. We were earlier with the fully loaded band. It was me and Risa, Buggy, Daniel. Yeah, and we were earlier in the day. Wyclef was later in the evening. So I just changed my clothes and then I was just enjoying the rest of the show. I see Wyclef walk from under the tent. I'm standing there He walks right by. I was like, "Hi, Wyclef," and passes and continues on to the stage. I was like, "This is not how it happened in my dream." You know, I was a bit confused. Like, universe, are you messing with me right now? And so I was like, "Nah, you know what? I can just enjoy the show. I saw him anyhow. You know, I got to see him. He passed by me, just how the dream said he would. It's just we didn't have the words. It's fine. I'm gonna enjoy myself." So then what I did, and that day, right, very important to note, there are two people that are truly respected in Barbados. One, Tamara Marshall, an excellent top-notch vocalist from Barbados, Tamara Marshall. And then there is Andrea King, who was working for the NCF at that time, right? Journalist, big in the arts, everything. So two respected women. And the two of them were sitting upstairs with me earlier in the daytime. We were all eating in the same room. And I said, "Listen, guys, no, me and Tamara were upstairs eating. I told Andrea later in the daytime. I told both of them this. I said I'm gonna sing with Wyclef, you know. I just don't know how yet, but today I'm singing with Wyclef." It was like, "Okay, girl, go for it." You know, so I kind of even was like, I was pushing the universe, like, "Yo, hear me.
Mm-hmm.
Help me." So I did it. I told her, Tamara, and then later I went downstairs. And after the whole, before the scenario played out, Andrea was downstairs and I was telling Andrea, like, "Yo, you know what would be great today if I get to perform with Wyclef? I had a dream, you know, da da da." And I tell her exactly what I just told you. So fast forward now, Wyclef passed, da 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 da. Saw Andrea standing next to the stage. She was like, "Come stand up next to me then, you know, we're gonna party together, no problem." So enjoying. Two wrongs, they strike it up, the song, right? Swear to you, Nat. They start the song. He do a couple words and then they were gonna move on to the next song. Me and Andrea standing there, and at that particular moment, if I lie, I die. He looked over. I said, "I want to sing this song with you." He said, "Come." Nah, nah. I was on the side where they got the scaffolding, and
Yeah.
then they got the speakers. I was on a side like that, and I was like actually in between the scaffolding. When I tell you I climbed the last part of the scaffolding to get over onto the stage, I climb up, went in between, and I get on stage. I was on my knees, and then I get up, and I was like, "Yeah." He was like, "Yo, yo, you ready?" I was like, "Yeah." And I started singing. I was like, "This is my moment." It was such an exciting moment for me. But what was funny was the look on Andrea's face. When I come off the stage, Andrea King said, "Girl, you's a sick ass." Not really in them words,
Yeah,
but she
yeah.
was like, "Yo, you told me. You did tell me." I was like, "Yeah." Night ending now. I see Tamara. Tamara said, "Give me your number. I have something for you." Then I see the thing. She took a photo of the screen because she was upstairs watching it from upstairs.
Yeah, yeah.
Said, "You told me." I caught it on camera. I was like, "Wow." Just like stick a photo.
Yeah.
I was like, "Yo, energy does not lie. When you put intentions and you set your intentions, best believe it's gonna come exactly how it needs to come."
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't matter about the entire in between. You just need to trust the process and don't get frustrated and don't give up. Just continue with the process, and the Almighty gonna deal with the rest. The universe, the powers that be, will deal with the rest. 100%. I am a living testament to that.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
Well, you've been named Cultural Reggae Ambassador to Mali, which
Yes.
congratulations. That is a
Thank
very
you.
huge title.
It is.
And it's not just a title, it's a responsibility. And as you had said before with the conversation with the lady, you've
Mm-hmm.
come to see like what power you have for change.
Yeah.
What does the honor mean to you, and how do you carry that role in your music and life?
Well, I mean, the music and the message is a part of me, and it my art kind of imitates my life, and it does the same for other people. They see what it means, they feel what it means, and it kind of helps them in turn. For me to be labeled a cultural ambassador anywhere is it means something. And it means that I also have a responsibility, which I took on, to put my best foot forward, but also to help people to understand, like, yo, this is who we are as a people. This is how we're supposed to live. This is, is a energy and a vibe that I always try to bring with my performance. So in any field, I think anybody appreciates getting an award for something that they do. It means that I'm kind of on the path that I supposed to be on. Then it reminds you, like, yeah, you are there, keep pushing, and for because most of us have West African blood.
Mm-hmm.
Most of us from the Caribbean have blood from West Africa for sure. So
Mm-hmm.
like Ghana and all of these areas on the west coast of Africa, right? Because of history and because of everything that happened. And when I say I truly feel at home, every time I've been to West Africa, I felt at home. Every time. I have not been to the other parts yet, but this is in the works as well, universe. I will do a tour. I will definitely do a tour and try to do expand a bit more, head a bit north, go a bit more to the east as well, and just explore and see and learn
Mm-hmm.
and feel, you know? Because it's one thing to read about history and read about different places, but to actually be there and feel it explains more than what you can see or read in a book, if that makes sense.
For sure, for sure.
Yeah. So for me, moving forward, it would be to kind of strengthen ties with Africa. I know they labeled me as cultural ambassadors to Mali. I actually would like to do a bit more work there as well, see if eventually we can also like curate programs where we can get like Barbadians, like an exchange program going,
Yeah.
with the arts and craft community, with the musical community, you know. They have some instruments that are originated there that, I think history should not stop in the past, with certain things as it pertains to certain things,
Yeah.
like the music side of things, the way they do their craft, the way they do it, why they do it that way, and the cultural exchanges. I think we have a lot that we can exchange as well. So I think this is always my dream to kind of try to bridge the gaps in between, the West and the Caribbean, in particular Barbados.
Mm-hmm.
So this is one of my dreams. From the time I was a little girl, actually reading like geographics and seeing Africa, especially in the National Geographics, I always wanted to, know how I could go there or be a part, or, like see the animals and the safaris, and actually traveling there, meeting the people, hearing the music, eating the food is a whole vibe of itself. So yeah, the cultural exchange and just being exactly that, like representing the culture as best as they can.
Yeah.
Yeah, to simply put it.
So now I'm going to get into the who is Tabitha. So I'm going to ask you some introspective questions and
Mm-hmm.
some reflective questions.
Mm-hmm.
The first one is, what is a truth about yourself that you once feared others would see, yet now you stand in it fully?
I think that would definitely have to be the power thing I was telling you about earlier. That is something where I used to dumb down a lot of who I actually was because I was afraid to offend people. Um, Whether it be negotiating or, like just standing my ground on certain things. What I want to sound like, what I want to look like. And over the years, I became unapologetic in the way I was moving because I know I was moving with a purpose, and it was not for everybody to understand that purpose. There was this thing that I read too, and I every time I see it, I kind of like chuckle cynically. It was like, when you and the Almighty had a call. It wasn't a conference call, so it's not for everybody to understand. And every time I see that, I was like, boop. You told them.
Exactly.
Because everybody's not supposed to understand your calling.
Hmm.
They're supposed to, however, be able to see, yo, like she on a mission, and to understand, like, yo, there's something bigger, a bigger, higher purpose there. Because I'm not here to serve myself.
Hmm.
I'm here as a service to other people. And sometimes it's hard to just remain in that zone as well, because there's a fine line in between being really self-involved and being there's a thin line between
There
the two,
is.
because one sometimes appears as the other.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I need to go inside as well to give you the best of what you can get.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like explaining that to some people sometimes too. Like, I don't have that time anymore. And I think I explain myself a bit less or apologize a bit less.
Mm-hmm.
And in my actions and what I do, and then down the line, it's like, oh, this is why such and such, or, and then they get it. But
Mm-hmm.
it's not for you to get it right away. If you don't get it right away, it's fine. But I don't need to take it personal if somebody feels offended in the way in how I respond, or in the way in how I choose to do something, as opposed to how you told me how to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And it happens with, sometimes there was this one song in particular, and I remember the person was saying, like, you shouldn't release this. This is not really going within reggae or whatever. It was more like a Skrillex kind of vibe. It was a rough and rugged. If you get a chance, listen to Surrender. It's not like any of the other songs I ever did.
Mm-hmm.
But to this day, this is one of these songs that I really hold close to me too, because it's like, yo, Tabitha, you're multifaceted. You're not staying in one zone only. You can do reggae and infuse it with anything else you want, or you can just do soca altogether. Or if I want, I could just do Afro. Like, I am an entertainer at the end of the day, and
Mm-hmm.
I cannot be boxed. So I
Yeah.
stopped being apologetic about mixing songs and doing different things too. Because today, Surrender is one of my biggest songs as well, especially in Barbados.
Mm-hmm.
So it is not really about sometimes taking to heart. I think I have to remind myself not to take things personal, but also that I don't need to over explain anymore. I am not at that stage anymore where I I don't want to say where I care to entertain it, but I don't. I sometimes it comes with negativity, and I don't really need to deal with that either. So
Mm-hmm.
I rather just do what I need to do and have the work speak for itself, as opposed to have to explain myself for the rest of my life.
Mm-hmm.
So I really unapologetic about that side of me now. Like, I rough and rugged, okay? If that's what it is and that's what it takes, that's what it shall be. And I'm not sorry for that.
Yeah. My next question will probably fall in line with this.
Hmm.
If you could give your younger self permission to do one thing, what would it be?
Mm. You got some good ones, though. Lord of mercy. If I could give my younger self permission to do something, what would it be? I think maybe I would have traveled from earlier. You know what? I think I would just remind my younger self that everything would be all right,
Mm-hmm.
and I will do things in the sequence and how I see it fit anyway. Everything will work out how it's supposed to work out, and I should not worry as much. I think that would be the main thing, not to worry as much, because I had to grow up really fast from a young age, and I was always worried about everything and everyone around me, and I think it kind of shaped me into who I am now.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I don't regret that, but also there was a lot of worry and sad days that really could have been avoided had I known this. So
Mm-hmm.
I would just remind myself, like, yo, just take it easy. Everything is going to be okay.
Mm-hmm.
Even until you reach 38, things will be all right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that would be it. Not anything real super philosophical or
No, no.
anything like crazy, but that, I think, as simple as it sounds, that would be my one thing. If I
Yeah.
could remind my younger self or do something from a younger age, it would be that.
If your pain could speak, what would it say to you today?
If my pain could speak, I think it wouldn't speak. It would just cry still. It's like, sorry, but again, it will be okay. You're gonna have days like this. Just get it out, let it out, and
Mm-hmm.
get over it.
Okay.
Get through it and get over it.
What's a belief you once held tightly that you no longer believe in?
I used to believe that people had good intentions always.
Mm.
That was a rude awakening.
I still bump my head on that wall sometimes.
Still. still, because you have such good intentions in your heart. You believe people can see it and be like, oh no, you know what? I would never want to hurt her. I would protect her.
Mm-hmm.
But it's giving Bambi vibes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's giving Bambi vibes. Bambi was cute, but what happened?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a tough one to always remind yourself the way that you think other people don't think.
Don't. Yeah.
And it's like remembering, yes, we're all connected, we're all united, yet we're all on different ways of our path and different inner works. So it's really having to, just remind I still hit my wall. I still hit my head on that wall at times. And then it's like, you got to remember. And then it's just whatever emotions get invoked, I no longer have to hide from them. I can feel my emotions and let them pass through, not
Work through it.
suppress or repress or numb. It's like, okay, feel that. And it's okay to feel human and feel
Yeah.
the hurt, feel the helplessness, feel
Yeah.
the sadness, yet also recognize, don't identify with it. It's not your identity, it's a feeling, and it's just giving you some information that's coming up.
I battle a lot with feeling the sense of stupidity.
Mm,
Like me, I feel sometimes like I'm a bit slow in that department. Because then I'm like, how many times do you need for somebody to trick you or lie to you or to cheat from you or to steal from you in order for you to get that everybody is not going to be having good intentions towards you? And some people are just really about themselves, like, you know, and which is okay too. That's how they came up. That's the way they know how to deal with certain things. But at the end of the day, I blame myself and I hold myself accountable and responsible because I should know better. But then how can
ooh,
you know? This is how I
that's
feel.
that's a protective emotion. You're protecting
Exactly.
yourself from the sensitivity of,
Yes.
a little bit of wanting to see the goodness in the world.
And this is how
And
I grew up for a very long time, from the time I was a little girl. That probably would be one of the things that I would remind my younger self not to do, beat myself up too much when somebody tries to pull one over on me.
mhm,
This is something that I really, and this is something that I constantly work with as well, whether it be with friendships, relationships, even the bank. You wake up one day, 300 there, and then minus 300. Like, how did that happen?
yeah,
You trick from left, right, and center, and it's like, am I stupid? Am I slow? Or what is it? Like, I had good intentions, and look at this now. Like, why me? Why this? Why now? And then is when everything comes into play that I was telling you before. I
that
need
it,
to remind myself it's just a moment.
yeah. Do you trust yourself?
I do a lot,
Okay.
but then I also doubt myself a lot. So it's like two
So
sides of the same sword.
yeah, it's the part that is doubting that needs the maturity of trusting yourself more, of listening to your intuition and
Yeah,
not seeking on the outside of that validation and security. Because if
yeah,
somebody's telling you something and you're not really listening to your intuition, you're hoping that they'll bring you the safety and security of being seen and bringing you the thing that you're looking for in safety and security. It
hmm,
doesn't mean always money or a status. It could just be a sense of safety in your body that
yeah.
you finally recognize and you see me and I don't have to work so hard. That you can provide that for me. Because if you said you had to mature at a very young age, there's some of your childhood that was missed of being taken care of if you
Yeah,
were taking care of others. So then that wound goes and seeks on the outside. Can somebody just take care of me now? Like I'm tired of doing this for myself. So it's a bit of a mixture, if that makes sense to you.
that is the absolute story. And in my case, that is, you just explained what it is, exactly what I feel, exactly what it always is, and what is the scenario with me. Because at some point, who takes care of the person that is the caretaker? And then having to come to the realization you may very well have to take on that role for yourself too, and accept that you have to take care of yourself and you have to know when to shut yourself off. There are times when I just go silent for months. You will not even see a post. Like if you check my Instagram, you will see there is a few and far in between in terms of the months that I post. And sometimes I just need to sit back and relax and just take a moment for me because mentally sometimes I need to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And I realize that and it's not everything that you will be healed from the past or the present instantly.
Mm-hmm.
And we are a work in progress, and every time we breathe is another chance to better that thing that was done to us or that thought that we were thinking. Or so it's always a chance. This, I can do something different. I
Mm-hmm.
can choose to do something different because I still have this. When this stops, then it stops with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You understand? So it's real funny. I actually wanted to study psychology. I never went through the process. I didn't even bother to continue or to go to college. I got opportunity to travel the Caribbean for 2 years, singing and acting and doing a school play with a group. And this is what I chose to do. I still have my badge and everything, paid the money, everything to go to college.
Mm-hmm.
And I was going to do sociology and business for German, German for business and tourism.
Mm-hmm.
These two things. And but I say all that to say, from young, I knew I had to follow a path that suited me, and I just wish that I could try to have some kind of clear cut path always, as to be accepting the unsure, but knowing that it will work out as long as I put my best foot forward.
Mm-hmm.
And I try to do this in all aspects, yet again, like with relationships, with everything. But then there are sometimes that I do get the reminder, like everybody, like I said, does not have the best intentions.
Mm-hmm.
And this is just a part of life.
Yeah.
And we move.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just always reminding yourself that, there's regression in healing. Everybody thinks it's always moving forward. Yet, if you don't have the regression, you don't really have the learning. Because this
Yeah.
isn't about perfection. It's about understanding and not separating. And when lifes, these emotions are going to come up because they've been a part of your pattern, your habits, your character, and it's been a sense of protection. Yet, as you said, if I can ground myself in my breath and recognize, wait, I don't have to go back into that part of me. I can choose something different for myself. Yet the only way I can do that is if I'm actually feeling my authentic emotions. So I can know what is going on internally and things aren't hijacking my behavior and my
Yeah.
perception of myself with others.
Hmm.
It's really allowing yourself to take space in a world that like says, oh, just a little bit. It's like, no, there's no such thing as too much space. It's like you're allowed to take up space, you're allowed to shine your light and share it with people, and then also recognize not everybody, there's envy, there's jealousy, and that's one of the defects of human, and that's what it is to be human. Also, we do it also, even if you think you don't, we all
Yeah.
do it in little parts. So
Yeah.
it's
Yep.
really that understanding of that inner work, and that it's a journey to walk yourself home and to walk that journey with other people, of always remembering we're all walking each other home. So when we
And
can
all like,
create community and
hmm,
support each other and recognize, okay, this time it's you're on stage and we're all going to support you. Next time it's them, but recognizing everybody has a part. It's not having to be this independent and it's just me. It's really understanding. Yet that's again something that's difficult to do in
I
society.
fight. I fight with this. I fight with this one a lot, in particular, because sometimes it feels, and you would know certain things, and you would hear certain things, and it's like, okay, when do I just forgive what I've heard and the person that said it, and just move on and know that we are all here for one another, and we are not here alone on planet Earth to just exist. We're here for something bigger. We're here to help each other in any way that we can. So how can I do this when my neighbor is trying to shoot me down every chance they get? And it's the same thing with music and artists.
Mhm.
And it's like, oh, I've been doing this now for over 20 years. There are some people that are further along than me. And sometimes the thought can come to your brain like, hey, why am I not in such and such and such? And then I need to pull myself up real fast and like, skirt, skirts. There are times that you were places and done things that people were older than you and looking at you and be like, why you?
Mm-hmm.
So it's always something that you have to be mindful of. It comes down to giving yourself the patience and the peace to understand everything and to process it and to deal with everything in humility and to be humble at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's a saying, but I say it a different way because to whom much is given, much can be taken away.
Mm-hmm.
It's something similar to this, but this is the version that I use for myself.
Mm-hmm.
So I never put myself in a position where like, I am Tabitha Gerbadian, and I meet some people like that. I'm like, yo, dude, you really have not done anything yet. Just relax.
Yeah.
You know, you have not done anything yet. Like me, you and travel the I have not traveled the corners of the world yet.
Mm-hmm.
How can I boast of being accomplished and people in Asia don't know my name
Mm-hmm.
or don't know my music? Like I being realistic.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, and sometimes you would send like a proposal to perform at a festival or whatever because I am my own manager. Because remember I tell you I'm looking for an agent, but I'm doing everything. And
Yeah.
it'd be like, but why do we select you? What do you have to show us?
Mm-hmm.
Who are you?
Mm-hmm.
Why do we have to pay you this amount of money?
Mm-hmm.
What, and then I have to feel like, okay, make
No, you
myself
do.
so it brings me back to a small stage. Like I
Yeah.
feel like a beginner.
Yeah.
But it's taking it one step at a time and understanding, yo, I will reach the lives that I need to reach. It is not for the popularity that I'm doing it. It will take time. And especially when you're trying to do things the honest way
Mm-hmm.
and to do things with a clean conscience and a pure heart, you know exactly what I mean.
That's what I want to ask you. I want to ask
Yeah.
you, how has it been as a female with the sexuality? Because as a female, you're asked to dress or perform or be a
Yeah.
certain way to attract,
Hmm.
where it's like, how has that experience been for you?
Let me tell you when I started to understand a bit more about that fully. When I
Mhm.
was doing, so I started off doing actually social commentary and hip hop, right? And then from there, I graduated to soca music. Now, when I would go to any show or whatever, like I had a song that was starting to get a lot of buzz. And the chorus went, whoa, you look so sexy and you got big muscle, baby. And then there was another one that I had that same year. It was like, hold on, wind down to the ground. You're fit and you're strong. Watch the big fat heavy bumper. Again, I think you could see the line that I going down with this. So
Yeah.
every time I would go out now, I obviously would not feel comfortable wearing short pants. That was never me. I don't mind wearing the close fitting clothes because, sometimes you want to feel a little sexy or whatever. It started when I was performing them songs. It started to become mandatory. If I wasn't dressed a certain way, people will automatically lose interest.
Mm.
So I started to think one or two things. Is it the people that came before me, how they dressed, and I'm supposed to emulate them? Or is it because people really don't want to hear the music? They just want to see the
Visual.
symbol.
Hmm.
And then this started to play on my brain. But when it really started to annoy me is when the other song now, Heavy Bumper, Hold On, Heavy Bumper, started to become really popular to the point where I would get paid like sometimes let's say 300 US to sing this song for 2 minutes. One song, 2 minutes, 300 US minimum fee, and just leave. Easy. And you got sometimes in the crop over season, I'm sure you've been there during the season before, and you see how much events we got. Some days you got 5 events in one day. You're like, oh my gosh. There's a breakfast party. There's a brunch party. Then there's a boat cruise. And I performing at all.
Yeah.
And then it's like, at what point I really started to feel uncomfortable myself is the point when people were addressing me as, oh, heavy bumper girl. And then I was thinking, I think it was on my way actually to a performance. After a very popular calypsonian said, "You need to dance a bit more on stage." And it's something about it, just, it was a male as well.
Mm.
And it started to annoy me because I was like, why do I have to dance more than I already did? Because according to my standards, I already did too much. So I was fighting against the grain of my morale and the things that I knew myself to be. I
Mm-hmm.
was already battling with that. So then when he told me that, then it set me back like years because I was like, was I not good enough? What was the problem? I'm not dancing. So it means the song wasn't good, or it means my body wasn't good enough, or what was the issue at that point? And I get in the car and I sit down and I was like, you know what? If I was to die tonight, if I was to drop dead, what would people remember from my last performance? What would they remember of me? What did I leave on this earth of Tabitha besides Heavy Bumper? And that put things in perspective so much for me. And I was just like, to the point where somebody actually suggested to me I should give somebody else the song, let them compete in the, oh yeah, it gets better. Let them compete in the Party Monarch. Mind you, this time the song was building, yeah? It was gaining momentum and traction. Give the other girl the song, let her perform it, and then we can split the winnings.
She doesn't have your voice.
But so for me, right? I
But
tell you, that wasn't even a thought for me. My first thought was, what's wrong with my body? So, mind you, this was at a time when I was, I had just like started out. I was starting to
yeah, of course.
create a buzz for myself, just joined a band as well, popular soca band. So, I was trying to really, fit the mold.
Mm-hmm.
And then I start to realize, like, this ain't it. And then I started to do backing vocals then. So I stopped that. I was like, me and this is the last year doing this. And if I do soca again or calypso, it's gonna be like social commentary, where actually people sit down and listen for the bars and listen for the lyrics and listen for what's coming.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't expect to have a sexual person in front of them.
Mm-hmm.
They have, they're listening to the lyrics and you're judged on your lyrics.
Mm-hmm.
This is what I would honestly do again, because that part I had as well. And I started to gain traction in that field. So actually at that point, I started to pay more attention to the social commentary as opposed to the power soca and the groovy soca.
Mm-hmm.
So then I started to really veer away from it. It wasn't necessarily for me. And then now, in this day and age, you got groovy soca and power soca that has such powerful messages in it. And I'm like, wow, yeah. If back then they used to accept it, then probably I could have done such and such and such.
Mm-hmm.
Spilt milk, that's done with. I know I would never do that again because I ain't going on stage and gonna flaunt myself unless I feel it's natural to do so.
Mm-hmm.
And if it is that I feel like I gotta force something, then I can't give you an authentic performance, or I can't give you authentic Tabitha Gerbadian if I gotta pretend that I enjoy a performance that I really do not.
Mm-hmm.
And that song, it was a good song, but it wasn't for me.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess me receiving that he wanted the girl to perform the song was kind of him foreseeing, yo, you're not comfortable in this. But the way how he brought it across, but years later, I started to realize maybe he had a point. Maybe he understood that she would have been more comfortable doing this song than I do. And she would have been able, maybe even not vocally, but body wise and visual wise, and what she was willing to do. He knew her and he knew she would have done what she needed to do for the song.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't me. And I think it came across. So, but this came in like years later of understanding myself a bit better, understanding like, again, who has good intentions, who has bad intentions, who may portray something that you may take the wrong way, but actually has a good intentions for you.
Because it's business. That's the
Yeah,
thing. Business doesn't have
yeah,
emotions, and sometimes
yeah.
we get
It's just
emotional, and
money.
it's like it. I just see the money, and
Yeah.
that's it. There's no
Dollars and
emotions.
cents.
Yeah,
Dollars and cents. That's it.
there's no
So,
integrity in it.
yeah. So I had to go through that as well in order to understand where I wanted to be
Mm-hmm.
and what made sense for me as an artist. And with reggae music, I never had to skin out. I never had to shake my ass. And if I wanted to, it was a part of the performance. And I wanted to give them that at that point in time. And it came willingly. And they saw it and they were like, yo. And then it was more so of a it was more so of a free will. And then it was taken as something spontaneous, not as, oh, she has to shake her ass,
Yeah, that's what she's known as.
you know?
Yeah.
And so if God forbid something was to happen to me, I have a few songs you can listen to and say, oh, I can kind of understand the kind of person Tabitha was, you know? And that's all I really want.
Hmm.
Because it's supposed to be the message reaching the people and not people looking at me like, oh, sex symbol. And many people tried to manage me before too and was kind of trying to say, well, this is what we would have you look like. This is what you need to do. You need to lose weight. You need to da 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 da. And I'm like, hey, skirts, pump the brakes. No, sorry.
Hmm.
Cannot, 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 can't work for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, can't work for me. You gotta know what you need, what you want, and being overlooked and underlooked for so much of my life, it kind of molded me into knowing exactly what I want, what I'm willing to stand for, and what I'm willing to accept, and what will be a no go for me, an absolute no go. And I've turned down some really nice contracts before as well,
Hmm.
but it always required something or the other. And then I was like, nah, that's not for me. That's definitely not for me, you know?
So I know time and we've gone over our time, yet this has been such a refreshing conversation.
Yeah, for
And I
me,
appreciate your honesty and
thank you.
transparency. Where can the listeners find you? Where can they, take you in? I just want to give this. We were at QP, and if anybody has been at QP, it's right beside the cliff. And because it's beside the cliff, they have to have the noise level at a certain point. Let me tell you, Tabitha was going to ring out, and I was looking forward to feeling that. Yet Risa had to give her a nudge and be like, no, 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 because
You
we
realize that?
will get in trouble. And the sound guy came and talked and everything else. And it's like that hinders the natural part of an artist that wants to share and really dive into that energy. And I was like, darn it, why couldn't she just belt out and we could feel it all? Yet I understood the politics of what the restaurant was. Oh, yeah, I catch everything, Tabitha.
But
So
it was funny, and I spoke to Risa after that. I was like, "They was coming for me. They was coming."
I was like, let it loose, let it loose, please. Like I said, that whole night, people were energized, people were up off of their
Yeah.
tables and coming to dance. And I was like, is it always like this? And they're like, well, no, sometimes, but not always like this. The way that, you just melted into the band and you also, didn't overpower. Like you shared the space with everybody. And that takes a humility. Because when you know that you have certain strengths, yet you're still sharing the space, that takes a craft. So I just wanted to highlight that I did see that, and I'm like, I didn't get to enjoy that. Like I really wanted to feel that. Yet I will take you in again when I am on the island or anywhere in the
Yes, for
world.
sure, for
So could
sure.
you let the listeners know your info and where you can be and how they can contact you?
So right now, on my Instagram is where I am like the most active. I'm working on being active in other spaces, but the music is available on all platforms. But right now I post all of my immediate stuff and my email address and everywhere you can contact me and stuff. My link tree is on my linked into my Instagram. So that's at Gerbadian. So Gerbadian, Gerbadian. And YouTube if you want to see any of the videos or my, visuals or anything that I do that I really like and I post it there. It's Tabitha Gerbadian. So it's Tabitha and then Gerbadian, Gerbadian. And then the music is everywhere. If you just type in Tabitha Gerbadian, I think I'm the only one still in the world with the two names, yeah, together. So we will see how that goes. But yeah, that's where you can find me.
I want to ask, do you do speaking on mental health or anything like that?
No, because I don't. I don't. Some days I don't even consider myself as mentally healthy. So
Oh, well, I think
I
you
don't. I
have a
don't.
lot to offer, especially artists in that space of what
Mm.
resilience looks like and being honest, not trying to portray something that you're not. I think people that are in the mental health space, they actually are, vulnerable of letting you know I'm still doing the work. There's no like arrival of perfection.
Right.
It's
Well,
how do you use the tools?
if I could do it with that knowledge in mind, and I let you know, yeah, look, I'm a work in progress too. But if you have any questions ever, like anybody hearing this and you ever want to reach out and, just bounce ideas off of me or, to try to figure out what's the next step or anything I can do to help, because I don't know it all. I just can tell you from what I've learned and what I continue to learn and what I think I will grow into. I can see a vision and a goal for myself, and I think is a good place to start. But if anybody ever needs, a word or whatever, like I'm very open and I'm very reachable and responsive as well. So even if you want to send me a DM on Instagram at Gerbadian, it's fine. It's no problem. Like I said, we all here together to succeed in whatever way we can, whatever that means to you. Let's do it. You know what I mean? Like I don't mind at all speaking or working with or in terms of mental health forums. I'm not sure I'm quite there yet, but
Never know. You never know. I'm just bringing it out there just as a possibility
it's
of
funny for
being
me
able to
because yeah,
speak about it.
yeah.
Now, reflecting on this conversation that we
Mhm.
had, what is one word that stands out for you of how it felt?
Hmm. I can't use one word, but I can give you a sentence.
Yeah.
It was thought provoking. For me, it was an honest conversation as well. There's your one word, honest. Enlightening and encouraging. Because sometimes we talk about our stories, we talk about things we go through, may not necessarily mean anything to us at that point, because it not that it doesn't mean anything, but it's like, okay, we've already been through that emotion, we can talk about it freely, we've done the work, been through the steps, but then when you say it again and somebody's there, like sometimes I would talk about my life, for instance, when I was growing up, and people there in tears. I'm like, why are you crying? Why the sad face? But then I need to realize, like, okay, yeah, it was not a normal situation. And although I've worked on it, it may trigger somebody else, or they may look at it and be like, oh, I'm so sorry for you. Like, I don't want pity. I've already worked through it, So
Mhm.
in talking to you, it kind of reminded me of that. Like when you just said, like me, I could never see myself being a speaker anywhere. I mean, I went back to my old school and let them know, like, yeah, don't give up, because I started hearing the music program, and look at me now. Like I travel to do music. I do what I love. So I went as an inspiration, to a success story, which I'm not even really am yet. Like
You are. You
but no, I'm
are.
still working, I'm still a work in progress. So I'm not fully there yet, but I can see the goal and the vision, So
Mhm.
in talking to them, then they were like, oh wow, it's so cool. I was like, yeah, pretty cool, So stay in school, do music. Music is a good vessel for you.
Mhm.
I would do more so school speaking, but in terms of speaking to adults, I'm still learning how to be a proper adult, okay?
I hear you. I hear you.
I
Well,
laugh way too much at things that should not be funny, and I'm just like, look,
I think
laugh it
no.
off and keep it moving, Keep
Yeah,
it moving.
I get that. I understand that.
Yeah.
Well, I want to thank you for being here, being transparent, and sharing your energy, even sharing your voice with me and the listeners. And I also want to thank you for doing the alchemy, taking those impurities of your life and transforming them into gold and not keeping
Mhm.
that gold to yourself. You're sharing it with others. So
Yeah.
thank you for doing that work and sharing it with the world. Your light means so much, and your voice sends a frequency out to lift people up and let them be seen. So thank you, Tabitha.
And thank you so much for having me. And speaking of light, you yourself, like we haven't known each other for that long. And we met through Risa, another energetic, pure spirited person. And from the time I met you, it was an instant, it was the instant energy between us. And we didn't know each other, but we smiled, we hugged. Oh, hi, nice to meet you. But you could feel the energy and the pure intentions there, and
Mhm.
that I'm very aware of as well. So thank you for your light and for being, a bright light for even in the platform now, giving other people a platform and a voice, and understanding that there's a necessity for certain things or to say certain things. And like I said, we're not alone. And you clearly bring out, brought whatever was in there, it was coming out. So I thank you. And it's not all interviews that would have gone this way had it not been for the personality asking me the questions. So I thank you for your light as well. And thank you for inviting me.
Thank you. Please remember to be kind to yourself.
I will try that. It's a daily practice. I will work on that. I promise you. I will work on that.